Hey everyone, it is Tasty Taste from Blooded Kittens, and in this week's episode, we're going to talk Blood Angels winning a grand tournament. Right after this, quick intro. Hello and welcome back to the week that was in Warhammer 40k tournaments, where we speed through some winning lists from the previous weekend. Last weekend saw 8 events with at least 5 rounds and 28 players with one major event. Harlequins continued domination, nabbing 5 of the 8 first place podiums, but sprinkled in there were some very surprising results, like Blood Angels taking a first place spot. This made 12 different armies nabbing top spots, providing some much needed army diversity. Now let's take a quick sample look at some of the surprising lists, and not so surprising ones, that made up the armies from the 8 events over this last weekend. First up is the Grimdark Open, held in Sweden, with the legendary Carl Abrahamsson taking first place with his Grey Knights. It has been a long time since Grey Knights have taken a top spot, but Carl's skill and one subtle meta tweak proved decisive. Carl went with the standard Grey Knight tech of Interceptors and Dread Knights, but included a Tech Marine for added hit bonuses and repairs. Carl's road to 5-0 saw him go through Speed Freak Orcs, Indirect Eldari, a third place finishing Necrons list, Thick City Drukhari, and finally beating Crusher Stampede. Next up is Fantasia Fanatic 41, where Magnus Forslund went undefeated in a rare battle point only event with his Tau. The list was a bit of an oddity with strange unit choices that most likely took advantage of the missions, with Krutox Riders and one-man broadside units. This didn't stop him from taking Longstrike though, or a ton of Crisis Suits. Magnus went 5-0 by crushing Farsight Tau, a rare Raven Guard list showing up, Duplicity's Thousand Sons, Alaris Custodes, and then finally Meta Custodes. The only major event of the weekend was the Gibraltar GT. Eldari did their predictable stuff with Rudd Steambakers going 6-0. Now, take a good last look at Rudd's list, because hopefully this will be one of the last times we have to see this type of list, as the new balanced datasheet is coming next week from Games Workshop. Rudd's road to first had him go through 3 Meta Custodes lists in a row, followed by Blade Guard Heavy Blood Angels, then Thick City, and then finally a 4 Hammerhead Tau list. Next, in the feel-good story of the year at the Heroes Retreat GT, Sweet Lou's, if that is his real name's Blood Angels list, grabbed first place going 5-0. Lou's Blood Angels had the rarely seen Commander Dante leading Sanguinary Guard, along with even more jump pack units of Vanguard Vets and Death Company. The MVP though of his list was probably the 2 Sanguinary Priests doing some healing and buffing work needed to make this list have any chance of winning. Lou had to beat Duplicity Thousand Sons, Crusher Stampede, an Ultramarine Successors list, Tau, and finally Meta Custodes. See what happens when you get to avoid Eldar? It has its perks. Next up at the Fool's Errand, undefeated second place finisher Calvin Ulsterdal's Custodes went ahead and dumped a ton of points into a Telemon and ended up not regretting it. Calvin went 5-0 by defeating Bealtown Eldar, some Black Templars, also some Meta Clowns, basic Admech, and then finally some Meta Custodes as well. Moving on to the other shocker of the weekend was the Grand Assault 3 and third place finisher Brian Malpass's Disciples of Be'lakor's list. Brian totally forgo the Great Demon Mash typical with these lists and dove right into the Horde. The secret sauce though was the use of 360 points set aside for summoning, which means Brian has his pick of whatever demon he wanted for whatever job he needed. Brian went 4-1, only losing in the last round to first place winner Rob Hawkins. Brian played against Speed Freak Orcs, Longfang Space Wolves, Skyweaver Harlequins, Farsight Tile, and then finally lost to the straight-up meta Harlequins list. The last event of the weekend was the Mid-Con GT, and first place winner Andreas Drachmann's Speed Freak Orcs. Nothing's crazy about this list, but with nerfs coming to the other factions, it is important to keep an eye on this army of renown, as there's a good chance it'll be rising to the top of many events in the future. Andreas' journey to winning Mid-Con took him through Tau, Black Templars, Silent King Necrons, Crusher Stampede, and finally another Crusher Stampede. Well, that'll do it for this week. Thanks for watching. Look for things to start changing up in the next couple weeks, as nerfs and new nids change the meta. Don't forget, though, if you want to see the rest of the top 3 lists in detail, click on the links in the description below. And as always, if you can please leave a comment, like, subscribe, and ring that bell. See you later.